Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today's AMA. I'm Fran, community manager here at PancakeSwap, and I will be your host in this insightful AMA we have prepared for you. There has been a lot of talk in the community around cake burns, emissions, and supply, especially over the last 2 weeks. Today, Chef Master here, my co-host today, is here to give you a clear overview of what's have been happening, what the numbers really mean, and how we are improving transparency moving forward. Before let's get right into it, I would like to let you all know we will be gathering all of your questions. So if you have any concern or question regarding burns and how it works, please drop it in the comments. You can use if you are seeing this on Twitter, you can use Twitter comments. If you are seeing this on YouTube, you can use YouTube. If you're more used to Telegram or Discord, feel free to drop them there and we will gather all the questions and address it at the end. Also, I want to say that as every of our AMAs, there will be a text recap at the end. So don't worry, this will be also recorded and put it in your YouTube channel. So no matter if you are missing this right now, you will be able to see it after. So don't worry and let's start. Hey Master, how you doing? Would you like to present yourself a little bit before we chime in the tokenomics?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Fran. Hi everyone. This is Mazda. A very quick introduction of myself. I joined the kitchen in 2022, and it's been 3 years almost, and I'm with the ops team. So basically, pretty much all weekly burn were executed by me. So perhaps I'm the right person to do this AMA. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to talk to you guys. Um,
Thanks, Master.
so I yeah, I
Long
think
run in
I
the
will
kitchen.
just Yeah, I think I will just go ahead and present.
Sure. You can start presenting. I will, if I see any questions from me as a representative of the community, I will interrupt you. So feel free to start sharing.
Okay, can you guys all see it?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, let me zoom a little bit. Um, all right, so I've been reading the comments recently for the past three weeks, and there are some confusions around the community regarding our net mint, our tokenomics, our burns. So today I'm here to address everything. And for the sake of transparency, all I'm gonna use are facts, mechanisms, and also blockchain data. Um, so I mean, first of all, I understand very much that the cake tokenomics are not the easiest to understand because we have been upgrading for the past few years. From MasterChef V1 to V2 to V3 and going to be V4 soon. And so the level of complex in terms of the cakeonomics and the cake burn also increase along with that. But I really appreciate that we can have this opportunity to, to go through everything with you, and hopefully I can address all the concerns. Okay, so let's get started. So the most confusion points that I can see are these 3 points. So the first one was on March 17th, which was 3 weeks ago, that we reported our net mint was 3.8 million, and it's way bigger than any previous weeks. So a lot of users are wondering if that's the true net mint. Okay, so this is number one. And number two, I think it's the last week. So we reported negative of 300K in deflationary, but the Doom shows only minus 3K. So which one is correct? Okay, this is number two. And then, of course, today that the weekly data that we just released 1 hour ago, and the net mint is becoming inflationary again. I mean, after we have been deflation for almost a year, I think maybe over a year. I don't remember, but today become inflationary. So what happened? Okay, so these are the three confusions, and I'm gonna address them each by each. I think before we dive into the numbers, I think it's best um, to tell you guys some key understanding of cake burn. Um, so I listed here 4 points that I think are very crucial to understanding the cake burn fundamentally. So number one is, I think you guys all know that cake emits 40 per block. I think there's no question about that. But I think the confusion in this part is that a lot of people think that the cake are emitting literally every block, every 3 seconds, 40 cake are minted, but that's actually not the true. That's actually not true because, well, this is technically unable. And I think one of the example, one of the a similar situation that you can think of this cake mint mechanism is if you ever do farming on Pancake, I think you would understand this mechanism because when you deposit your LP in a farm, you can see the cake reward occurring on the front end, but the cake reward is not, doesn't drop into your wallet every 3 seconds. It updates every 3 seconds on the front end and telling you this cake reward has been growing. So it's the same thing for this cake emission. So it only triggers when MasterChef V2 does not have enough cake to distribute. So it will call the new address to mint new cake based on the accrued numbers. Okay, this is
So,
number.
Master, just to triple check, it's more accurate to say that cake is accrued every block, but not actually minted until we trigger, right?
Yeah, we have to trigger it. So the triggering is that when the MasterChef V2 contract does not have enough cake to distribute. Okay. So moving on to the second point. So the cake mint goes to MasterChef V2 first. So MasterChef V2 contract is one of the most important contracts for PancakeSwap. And after the cake minted to MasterChef V2, it will get further distributed to various places based on the emission rate. So for example, the multi-chain emissions, the lottery, the eco-fund, etc., etc. And the third point is that the majority of the MasterChef V2 emission are burnt through the burn cake and the update cake rate functions. So you guys probably know that most of the cake are mint to burn portions. I think it accounts to almost 96%. And because we are not able to change this 40 cake per block number, so that in order to burn most of it, we have to have this burn cake of 38.63 cake per block. That's minted and immediately, not immediately, but they will also send to the burn safe for later to be burned. And I will go back to that later. And then the final point, I think, which is very important, is that the cake burn are all the cake burn from different categories. Like for example, the burn cake, the swap, the perpetual, the prediction, etc., etc. They are consolidated every Monday in the burn safe, and the total is thereby sent to the dead address. So it's not like every category we send the fees directly to the dead address. So the way, for example, I'll give you a concrete example. So let's take BNB prediction as an example, right? So BNB prediction, there's a call function called withdraw the clam treasury. So every Monday we call this clam treasury, and then the fee will be withdrawn to a safe, which is the owner of this contract, and then the fee is actually in BNB because it's you guys bet BNB. Then the BNB that we withdraw, we will swap them to cake. This is also the process of cake buyback. And then once the cake are converted, we send to the burn safe along with other categories of fees, and then we do one transaction to send to the burn address. Sorry, to send to the dead address, which I can show you now. So this is the transaction we do every Monday. So from our burn safe. So this 4AOE is our burn safe and to the dead address. So this is how much we burn.
So, Master, we
Okay.
can say burning has a lot of manual work also. It's not like it's all
Yeah.
automatic.
Yeah, it is. I think the whole burning by cake buyback process is very complicated, and I think it's semi-automated and semi-manual. So some parts that can be done automatically. For example, the swap fees. We use the fee handler to collect all the fees because there are millions of LPs. So it's not possible to process manually. So we have actually a bot doing that. But then we have because the cake brand is dynamic over the years. So when we have a new product, we probably have a new category of burn. So so we manually process the big items, like for example, consolidate everything on Monday and then send them to the burn safe, and then later we do the proof of burn by sending everything to the data address.
Perfect. Thanks, Master.
Oh, okay. All right, so these are the four, I think, key understandings of the cake burn. So once we understand this, we can go through the recap of what happened over the past three weeks. Okay. So let's go back to 3 weeks ago, which is week 1, and this is when the mismatch occurs. So on that week, on Friday, March 14th, we were doing, every 2 weeks we do the epoch adjustment based on the VCake voting results. So this is the moment when we call a function which I highlighted here, which is called the update cake rate, because we need to make adjustment, according to the voting results. So we call this function, and then naturally, there will be cake burn triggered, and then MasterChef doesn't have that 5.4 million cake, so it minted. So let's look at this transaction. Okay, so 16 days ago, February, Friday. So we have cake minting, and then we have we mint this much, 5.5 million, and the burn safe received 5.4 million. So this is the so this is the transaction. What happened? This is normal. And what gets interesting is 3 days later, on that Monday, March 17th, so I highlighted here. So 3.5 million cake accrued, but 0 cake minted, right? Because the last mint was Friday, so naturally when cake accrued, it should be minted, but it doesn't mint. Let's see the transaction. This is the weekly burn. So we use this function, burn cake. We do every Monday to trigger the burn cake. And see, this is just a very simple transaction from MasterChef V2 to the burn safe. So no cake were minted, right? So what happened? 3 million cakes sent to the burn safe, but 0 minted, and 3.5 million accrued. So what happened? So what happened was that MasterChef V2 had enough 3 million, so it doesn't really need to trigger the cake mint, right? And so why MasterChef V2 had this 3 million cake accumulated? Is because of the ecosystem growth fund that we did not yet claim. So because of this, the cake mint is 2.73 days behind the cake burn. So these two, the cake mint and cake burn, they are always sync up. But then this week, interestingly, cake mint was far behind. So to be exact, it's 78 0.627 blocks behind cake burn. Okay, so this is when the mismatch occurs. Okay, so let's move on to the second week, which is 2 weeks ago. And on March 2021, it's Friday again. And let's look at this transaction. So what happens is that, well, cake minted, and we minted 9.2 million, but only less than 1 million were burned. And most went to the MasterChef V2 contract, and MasterChef V3 got this almost 10K cake. So what happens is that this is actually not triggered by us. It's automated upkeep performed by a channeling job, because every day we need to transfer transfer cake from MasterChef V2 to this BNB chain MasterChef V3, because this is essentially where all the farming rewards on BNB chain are coming from. So there's a daily channeling job that triggers, and what happens on that Friday was that MasterChef V2 does not have enough cake, so it triggers the mint. But because it's not a burn cake function, remember we only trigger burn by calling the burn cake or update cake rate, but this is none of them. So there's no cake will burn, but only cake minted. So 9.2 million cake minted, only 0.8 million cake. This is the developers allocate, which automatically sent to the burn safe. Okay, so what happens on March 24th? That's also three days later after Friday. We will do the routine Monday weekly burn. So what happens is that there are still 3.1 cake accrued, but 0 minted, because we already minted this much. And remember the previous transaction, we sent around 9.4 million to the MasterChef V2 contract. And on that Monday, we only need to, the accrued burn cake amount was only 7.8 million. So MasterChef again had enough, right? Had enough cake to distribute to the burn safe. So 0 cake minted again. So again, the cake mint is behind the schedule, and to be more precise, it's around 70,000 blocks behind. And this is the week where we realized and confirmed about this mismatch, that if we don't adjust it manually, it will always be synchronized, right? And
Okay, Master, can I chime in? Because it was a lot of information.
okay, sure.
So between these 2 weeks, just to wrap up, it's not that we burn more, it's like we mint less, right?
Yes, we didn't mint more. So I've actually I forgot this formula here. So on week 1, the total mint was only 8.5. Sorry, 5.5 million, and the total burn was 9.3 million. So that is the result of this huge deficit in supply. Here you can read the total burn is just normal. On average, we burn around 9.3 million in total, 9.3 or 9.2. This is the proof of the transaction. But
So it's
we
not like we burn the ecosystem funds, right? Because it was a common question from the community over these two
yeah,
weeks.
we didn't burn it. We didn't claim it. We didn't even claim it. How can we burn that, right? We didn't claim it. How can we burn that? And they are not meant to be burned. They are used to grow the ecosystem of Pancake. Remember, the ecosystem fund was set up around, I think, 1.5 years ago. That I think, to be exact, it was around April of 2023 when we decided to do multi-chain. So we allocate this fund, and we have a governance proposal, a very long like a very long governance proposal and it's passed. And then we allocated a certain emission or from MasterChef V2 to this ecosystem growth fund to use, you know, for the multi-chain. And actually, you know, to this date, we already expanded to how much? Like 8 multi-chain, and we will expand to more chains. So this ecosystem fund has been, you know, a great benefit, has been benefiting the ecosystem greatly, to be honest.
Thanks. Perfect. It's clear now.
Okay. So yeah, so like Fran said, it's not that so this negative 3.8 million is not we burn more, it's because we lagging the mean. So we minted less. So we only mint. So on average, we should mint around 8.8 million, you know, according to the hard-coded code on the MasterChef. But we only minted 5.5 million because MasterChef had enough to trigger the pancake. So again, the second week, the net mint is pretty much the same. We minted 9.2, so this is 9.2 on Friday we minted, and on Monday we didn't mint anything, it's 0, and the total burn is 9.2, which I can show you the proof of burn here, 9.2. So to be exact, this is the number actually that you guys are looking at on the Doom dashboard. But this week we tried to report in a new format because we heard from the community that people saying that okay, the majority of the cake mint were actually mint to burn, so it doesn't make much sense. So why don't you guys like show us the true deflationary, like how much that are actually gonna reduce the supply, the token supply, you know, from virus you know, virus burns from the products. So that we wanted to try this, and then the answer was around a negative 300K. So I think that's when, you know, everybody become a little bit confused about why you have these discrepancies. So I actually I wanted to I think that the best analogy that we can use here is that I don't know if you guys invest in the stock market. If you guys do, you often will check the financial reports published by the company, right? So there are a lot of financial statements. You have income statement, you have a cash flow statement, and you guys will notice that the profit on the income statement are never gonna be the same as the net cash flow, right? So there are different interpretations of the company's performance. So similarly, it's the same thing that these two numbers, I don't think this one is correct, one is wrong. I think they are all different interpretations. So if you are focusing on the total supply side of the cake tokenomics, then you look at this -3 because -3K, because that's how much cake were removed from that token supply in that week. But if you are looking to see like how much we expected to burn, you know, based on the cake emission goes to the product and the cake fee that we collected from the various products, -300K. So but we understand it's confusing because yeah, it's obviously that, you know, these two numbers doesn't match. So I think going forward, we'll still use this number because this one is more understandable and it's more transparent. It's more more straightforward. Yeah, we'll use this number going forward. And then finally, moving on to this week, this is when we remove the mismatch. So again, on Friday last week, we do our Epoch 35 farm adjustment. So again, what happens was we minted 8.5 million cake, and only 5.6 million cake was sent to the burn safe. You can see it here. So this is mint, this is the burn. This is because they are behind, right? Because mint was behind 2.5 days behind. So when you trigger them, if they are triggered together, so naturally more cake will burn than like the gap was there because of the lagging. And then today on Monday, so this is our weekly burn. So when we trigger the burn cake, so what happens is that again, Master V2 had enough to distribute. So again, no cake will minted. So if we keep this going, it will never be sync. So what we did is we climbed the ecosystem fund. Okay, this is the climb off, and then the mismatch were removed. So this is the transaction when we climb the the ecosystem fund growth, which adds up to around 3 million here. So 3 million, Massive doesn't have 3 million, so it minted 3 million. So let's see the net transfers. So, okay, so the ecosystem fund get around 3 million and it minted 3.4 million. And yeah, the developers allocation went to the unsafe. This is pretty much how it looks like. And okay, so up to this point, the adjustment is done, means that the burn schedule is synced up and mismatches are removed. And the net mint for this week is a plus 2.2 million. So we minted more. So we minted around 12 million, and total burn is pretty much the same every week, 9.6 million. So if I scroll up, you can see on the first week, we minted less, didn't we? We minted only 5.5. It's lagging behind, it's behind the schedule. And now we manually fix it by, minting it more, by climbing the eco fund and it minting more so it catches up. And so overall 2.2 million net inflation. But if you sum these 3 weeks up, so 3 weeks ago it was negative of 3.8, and week 2 is pretty much 0. And this week is 2.2, so we are still negative 1.6 million if you sum these three weeks up. So I mean, it's still deflationary as you guys can see it. So all the numbers here are on blockchain, and you guys can validate later if you can. Okay, some final takeaways before we go to the QA section. So, well, the ecosystem fund are not misplaced or dumped. They will be used for the better good for Pancake swap growth. And second point is no additional cake were minted nor hidden. Total supply and circulating supply are unaffected, obviously. And how I think this is one of the takeaways that the kitchen team learns. So we will climb the ecosystem fund on a weekly basis to avoid overlay accumulation in the master shape. So if we climb every week, the mismatch will never occur in the future because actually this mismatch only occurred once for the past 3 years. And the final point is that our monthly net mint for March is actually negative of 3.3 million cake. That's roughly 1% of the total supply. So I think there will be a monthly recap, and then you guys can see that number to validate it. Okay, that's pretty much I want to say. Fran, hand over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Master. You are telling me we have just burned 1% of the total supply during March, which is a lot. At the end of the day, this is the number that when we cut all and we remove all these mismatches is the name that matters, right?
Yeah, I just checked the graph before the AMA. I think since the all-time high of PancakeSwap total supply, which was around 390 something, 95, and to today I think it's around 375. So effectively, I think we have removed over 20 million cake tokens. over the this.
So
Yeah.
you're telling me since the started of the year, we have burned more than mostly all 2024, right?
I didn't confirm that, but I think so because we have a better volume, this year than last year because of
Yes.
the vibrant environment of BNB chain. So we actually had a very good trading volume for the past weeks. So we actually burned much more.
Yes, yes. I confirmed it before saying it, so I'm not saying things that are not like that. I think from the community, I see one question that it's quite quite abstract, or would be nice to address if we can address it. Like, uh, I think I know the answer that I think it's impossible, but it's not possible to think. I mean, this is difficult in terms of tokenomics. I mean, the workflow between minting and burning, but it's what it has been created since day one. It's not possible to change, right?
Uh, change what? Sorry,
The
change
whole
the way we
minting
burn
and
it.
burning, yeah, the whole minting and burning schedule and workflow.
Um, but why we want to why we want to change it? I think it's we never make any mistakes. This is just a mismatch, and then we fix today. Um, I don't see any reason because this one is very. I mean, the operation teams have been streamlined the workflow. But I mean, like we cannot change the 40 cake per block, but of course we can, optimize the workflow of the manual part of the burn. If the community has good suggestions, feel free.
Nice.
I will be, yeah.
Nice,
But
but
I think so far,
the thing is we can't change that 40K per block. It's not like tomorrow we wake up and change the whole system and only mint without all the mint and burn
yeah,
part.
yeah. It's no, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, the PancakeSwap has been evolving, right? I mean, three years ago is MasterChef V1, and 2 years ago was MasterChef V2, and then last year was MasterChef V3. So it's evolving. Of course, the level of complexity increases along with it. I think that's also to other dexes if they are major dexes and all dexes. So yeah, I fully understand that some of the new users will confused, and of course, if we have the opportunity going forward to be more transparent, and we can do this kind of a more often if users want us to do that.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for coming here, Master, and addressing all the questions in really insightful manner. I haven't seen any other questions, and if we see it later on, we will publish a recap with all of this addressed. I mean, the all the topics we covered today, and also new questions from the community. Also, this AMA is going to be saved in our YouTube channel for you to see it as many times as possible. If you want also a shorter version, we have just posted a tweet with this, but ultra summarized for all of you. And yes, I think we are reaching today's AMA to an end. It was a lot of information. I want to thank you, Master, again for coming here. Also, I want to do a reminder that we are working on a. It's already called in the tweet, so I'm not leaking anything. But really nice to say it again. We are working on a brand new tokenomics dashboard. I don't know if you have seen the BNB Lives Tracker, something related or similar, we can say, and it will give you full transparency of cake emissions burn and supplies changes. So we are really excited to share more of this soon, but I cannot say too much more. I want to say again, thanks, Master, and if you want to say anything before we wrap up, it's the time.
Thank you, Fran, for hosting, and thanks everyone for joining. And let me know if you guys like to do this kind of AMA more, and and we will try our best to be transparent. I mean, I understand this is not the easiest tokenomics in the industry, but hopefully we can, always be around with the community, answering your questions, answering your concerns. Yeah, let's build together. Thank you.
Thanks, Master. Thanks a lot. Couldn't be easier, but doing this kind of spaces is it's quite insightful and transparent for all the community. So thanks again. Thanks all for being here. This will be recorded, so don't worry. And see you soon in another kitchen AMA. Have a nice rest of the day, night, and afternoon. See you guys. Bye bye.